It was bright and early at the Midoriya Foundation, and they had a special guest hanging around in Izuku's office. "Man, I can't believe your dad is such a scumbag," Ochako said, as she drank her tea and sat back on Izuku's couch. Izuku had finished explaining everything that had happened recently at the foundation. After hearing about the debacle with Izuku's father and his sister, she was even more grateful that she had such a loving and caring family. "I'm really sorry you had to deal with that. Just another terrible thing that happened to you that you didn't deserve." Izuku sighed. "I'm just happy I don't have to deal with him anymore, and that I got the girls out of the house." "Well, you're an infinitely better father than he is, so you don't have anything to worry about there." Ochako smiled at him. "Thanks, although I doubt that's hard." Izuku chuckled, before taking a sip of his tea. "Now, what did you come all the way here for?" "Oh well, I was kinda hoping you'd let me spar with the kids," Ochako asked sheepishly. Somewhat embarrassed to be asking something of her friend again. "The sports festival will be coming up soon, and I want to get used to fighting against all different kinds of quirks. So I really couldn't think of any better place than this." Izuku smiled. "That's actually a good idea. And I'm sure the kids would love to spar with you again. Just try not to go overboard and challenge them all at once again." Ochako laughed nervously. "Yeah, not making that mistake again. I think I'll just take them one by one. That's how the finals of the sports festival are anyway." "Right, and actually I have an idea to help make the training even more accurate," Izuku said, as his eyes lit up with excitement. "XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. All right. That's it, boss," Sori said as she finished drawing a thick line in the dirt. Izuku, Fu, Kiba, Sansan, Kai, Ken, Nara, Yaba, Ji, Inu, Vera, and Sori had all gathered outside, at a large clearing in the forest. Sori had just dug a large square in the dirt, making an area inside the square, about as big as the arena used in the sports festival, which of course Izuku knew the exact proportions of, with Ochako standing on the left side. "Alright, listen up everyone," Izuku said, addressing the kids. "I know all of you are excited to spar with Ochako, but we're going to do it in an orderly fashion. Understood?" "Yes," all the kids responded. "Good." Izuku smiled proudly. "Now, the rules are simple. Once you get in there, the battle will start when I signal it. If you're unable to move or throw out of bounds, then you lose. Got it?" "Got it," the kids responded. "Alright, we'll go by the order in which you guys came to the foundation," Izuku said, getting disappointed looks from his sisters and Ken, but very eager looks from Fu and Kiba. "Kiba, you can go first." "Yes." Kiba did a small fist bump. "Thank you, caretaker. This battle will be swift." "I bet it will be." Ochako gave Kiba a determined glare, as the younger girl entered the arena. She had a plan, on that while simple on paper, was harder in execution. Kiba walked to the other side of the arena and got into a battle stance. "I'm ready to win, caretaker." Ochako activated full cowling at 28% and got ready to fight. "Me too. Who do you think's gonna win?" Ken asked the kids around him. "It could go either way," Ji answered, not looking away from the arena for even a second. "On one hand, I don't know much about this Uraraka girl, but having a zero-gravity quirk is very good for throwing people around. But on the other hand, Kiba's strength and speed are overwhelming. If she's not careful, Kiba may simply knock her out of the arena with one strong blow. My money's on Kiba." Yaba bet. "If she can fight me and my sisters on equal grounds, no way she can lose easily." "Yeah, but this is a very different kind of fight, one touch and Kiba's powerless," Nara noted. "And she can even make herself heavier so it's harder for her to get knocked back," Fu added. "I think she's got this. I just hope no one gets too hurt," Inu said. "It'll be fine, Vera's here," Kai said, smiling down at Inu. "We'll be okay. Alright, let the battle begin," Izuku signaled. Boom! Immediately Kiba rushed towards Ochako at max speed. One punch. "I'll put everything I have into one attack, and knock her out in an instant." Kiba was heading towards Ochako at a simply stupefying speed. Even someone as quick as Ochako would barely be able to react to such swiftness, and at best she'd be able to dodge. But fortunately for her, she didn't need to react to Kiba. Not when she'd fought the girl multiple times now, and she was still so predictable. At the same time Kiba started running at her, Ochako rushed forward, and touched her arm, taking away her own gravity. Then in less than a second, the battle was over. Kiba leapt at Ochako, with her fist in front of her, in an attempt to hit her in the stomach and knock her out of the arena. But Ochako leapt over her, barely making it in time, allowing Kiba to sail underneath her, but not before Ochako touched Kiba's back, taking away her gravity, and pushing her even faster. Now weightless and moving at top speed, Kiba had been shot out of the arena, before she even knew what was happening. Release! Ochako touched her fingertips together and deactivated her zero gravity. Both girls fell to the floor, and slid face first across the dirt, although Kiba slid far faster and further, until eventually coming to a stop. And Ochako is the winner! Izuku shouted, before immediately running over to Kiba. Kiba, are you okay? Physically, yes, Kiba answered, not pulling her face out of the dirt due to her embarrassment. It's alright Kiba, it was actually a lot closer than you think, Izuku reassured her while patting her back. If Ochako had been just a little bit slower, then she would have been knocked clean out of the arena. Yeah, I was almost sure I wasn't gonna make it, Ochako said, as she dusted herself off. Kiba pouted, still face down in the dirt. Alright. Izuku picked Kiba up, and held her close to his chest, comforting her as he walked back to the arena. Let's get on to the next match. Fu nodded, and got into the arena, while Ochako walked back to her side. After half a minute, they were ready to start. Ochako looked over at Fu nervously. Out of all her opponents, Fu was likely going to be her most difficult one to face, as his powers were the best suited for this kind of fight. But she had a plan. Begin. Izuku signaled. Shum. Immediately Ochako powered up to 30% full cowling and rushed at Fu as fast as she could. Fu didn't have enough time to react to Ochako's improved speed, so he just braced for impact, and used Kyosei's tendrils to make black roots come out of his feet, so Ochako couldn't push him out. But that wasn't Ochako's plan. Instead, Ochako leapt onto Fu, and pinned him to the ground, before touching herself, and increasing her weight, then lastly she touched the ground, increasing its weight as well. Oh, that was her plan. Fu thought as he realized he was now stuck underneath Ochako. He tried to move, but it was no use. He tried to use Kyosei's tendrils to move Ochako off him or move himself around. No use. She was simply too heavy. Then he tried to use Kyosei to dig into the ground and escape from there, but Ochako had already thought of that. By increasing the weight of the dirt, it became much more compact, making it far tougher to dig through. Guess I have no choice. Fu thought. Using Kyosei, Fu detached his finger and rolled it under Ochako. His plan was to distract Ochako with his now dead body and regrow himself from his finger, where he would then be free. But Ochako had an eye for detail, and she was well aware of Fu's mobile shell technique, so the moment she heard the sound of flesh being cut, she looked down to the source and saw Fu's finger rolling away. Realizing what was about to happen, she immediately got off Fu, and grabbed the finger, as it started to regenerate, before throwing it out of the arena. The finger landed outside the ring, as it continued to regenerate. Fu is out of the ring. Ochako is the winner. Izuku called. Damn, she is not fucking around, Yaba swore. These matches don't even last 2 minutes. Ken whistled. Meanwhile, while Fu's body continued to regenerate, Kyosei crawled out of Fu's former body, and over to his brand new one. Vera, could you deal with Fu? Izuku instructed. Yes sir. Vera ran towards Fu's old body, grabbed it, and then went over and grabbed Fu's work-in-progress body, and took them off to the side. Alright, now Sanson, it's your turn, Izuku called. Yeah, Sanson cheered, as she rushed over to the arena, pumped to get to fight someone again. The two got into position and got ready to throw down. Okay, begin, Izuku signaled. Sanson rushed over to Ochako, and Ochako in response crouched onto the ground, and touched it, making the ground around her weightless, before touching herself and making herself weightless. When Sanson got close to Ochako, she made her body into a giant hammer, raised it up, and then dropped it down. Ochako leapt over Sanson, getting high into the air, before making herself heavier, and increasing the power to 30%. Starfall impact. Crash! Uraraka slammed into the ground fast, and hard, so hard it created a powerful gust of wind and caused the ground to break and fracture. Sanson was pushed back by the wind and shockwave, unable to do anything as the broken piece of land she was standing on was jostled loose and floated into the air. Before Sanson could get her bearings, Ochako rushed forward and pushed the piece of ground Sanson was floating on, and pushed it away, quickly causing it to leave the arena, taking Sanson with it. Sanson is out of bounds, Ochako is the winner. Izuku called. Release! Ochako touched her fingertips together and deactivated her quirk, The piece of land Sanson was standing on fell to the ground, and Ochiko's gravity returned to normal. Even Sanson didn't last long, Kiba muttered, looking at Ochiko with amazement. She was starting to not feel as bad about being taken out so quickly because everyone else was following suit. Alright, Kai, your turn, Izuku called for the largest of the kids to take to the arena. Okay. Kai walked over to the ring, making sure not to step on anyone on the way. This girl's tough, but the hell is she gonna push this guy out of the ring? Yaba asked. I don't think she has to. Fu had now come back, having his clothes put on his new body, and his old body having been taken away. Now Kai and Ochiko were in position, and ready to smack down. Alright. Let the battle begin, Izuku signaled. Kai raised up his leg and got ready to stomp the ground as hard as he could. Ochiko saw this, and in response, touched her arm, making herself heavier. Stump! Kai smashed his foot into the ground, causing the already fractured ground to fracture even more. A massive wind and shockwave blew throughout the area, causing everyone to fall onto their butts. Everyone except Ochiko, who was too heavy to move, just stayed in place. Once the shockwave and wind subsided, Kai looked down through the dirt and dust and saw that Ochiko hadn't moved an inch. Release. Ochiko returned her gravity to normal, and just in time, as Kai went on the offensive once more, rushing his middle head towards her with his jaw open, intent on grabbing her with his mouth. Ochiko took a deep breath and rushed forward. She knew what she had to do. As Kai's head came barreling towards her, Ochiko vaulted over it. She turned off full cowling and focused 100% on One for All in her finger pads. 30% of One for All's power still wouldn't be enough to make her quirk work completely on someone as big and heavy as Kai, but she couldn't use 100% full cowling. Her solution, focus One for All in one part of her body like she'd been doing before, specifically her finger pads. This would allow her to get the full boost of power to her quirk, without destroying her body. Ochiko touched Kai's head and slam! Kai immediately felt the effects. His massive body was suddenly subjected to a harsh increase in gravity, causing him to fall to the ground hard. Ah! Everyone shouted, as the wind and shockwave created by this impact was even greater than Kai's stomp. Everyone was blown back, trees swayed and were almost uprooted, dirt and dust flew around forming massive clouds. After a minute, the impact lessened, and things started to settle down. Izuku coughed and tried to wave the dust cloud out of his face. Maybe this was a bad idea. Eventually, the dust and dirt died down, and everything became visible. All the kids, as well as Vera and Sori, were getting off the floor, covered in dirt and dust. Ochiko had been sent flying out of the arena and into a tree, and lastly, the arena had been turned into a giant hole, with Kai at the bottom, pinned by gravity. BW release. Waff! Ochiko barely managed to turn off her quirk in time, before vomiting half her stomach acids onto the tree. After all, while enhancing her quirk with One for All didn't destroy her body, it did enhance her quirk's drawbacks. Meaning that using it while it was fully enhanced, felt like the world was spinning while All Might punched her in the head and stomach at the same time. For a while, there was silence, as no one knew exactly what to say after that. But, Izuku spent that time, putting together his thoughts, and regaining his composure, before he spoke up. Alright. Since Kai is still technically in the arena, we'll call him the winner. For now let's put this on pause, take a break, recuperate, eat, and then find a new area to fight in. Okay. Everyone groaned in agreement.